Alright, in this video we're going to take a look at areas of circles. So the formula that you've probably seen before is this: A equals pi r squared. That's how we find the area of a circle. So really, the only piece of information that we need is r, which is the radius. Right? So let's take a look at a couple of quick examples. On this one, we are given the radius of 9.5. So all I need to do is say that area is equal to pi times 9.5 squared. Okay, now when we put this in, we need to show the only thing that's being squared is the 9.5. So I'm going to enter this into the calculator exactly like that. So we're going to use the exact value of pi. Okay, the exact value of pi is right here on the calculator. So I'm going to hit second and then this button. That's going to give me the exact value of pi. And then I'm going to put in parentheses 9.5 and then square that. So we end up with an area of 283.5 if we round to the nearest tenth. So the area here, 283.5. And then my units would be square inches. Okay, we're still talking about area, so still square units. Now on this one, we are given the diameter. Okay, remember, whenever we're using this formula, we need the radius. So we know that the radius is exactly half the diameter. The diameter is this whole distance. The radius is just the distance from the center to the edge of the circle. So here, if the diameter is 20, the radius is going to be 10. So then, my area will be pi times 10 squared, and we can plug that into the calculator. So pi times 10 squared gets me 314.2. Since the hundreds place is a 5, this tenths place would round to 2. So 314.2 square meters. All right. So those are pretty straightforward. Okay, the only piece of information we need is the radius to find the area. So let's take a look at a couple where we need to go backwards. Okay, so let's say we're given the area, and we need to find the radius. Right? So we're still going to use our formula. Area equals pi r squared. But now this time I know that the area is 63.6. So I'm going to plug 63.6 in for the area. Okay, so this is what my setup will look like. So now I want to solve this equation for r. So to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is divide both sides of the equation by pi. Pi is just a number, right? So I'm just going to divide both sides by pi. So 63.6 divided by pi gets me 20.2445. So since this is an intermediate step, we want to take that out to a few extra places. So we'll do 20.2445. And what we're left with here is r squared. So now, to undo the square, I want to take the square root of both sides of the equation. Now, in the calculator, we could type in the square root of 20.2445, but we could actually just do this. I do the second square root, and then if I want to just put this entire number under the square root bar, there's this answer, this ANS thing here. Okay, that means previous answer. So if I do second ANS, that's going to plug this value in there. So we get 4.499. So if we round this, okay, our final answer, if we round that to the nearest tenth, we will get 4.5. So the radius of this circle would be 4.5 feet. And it's just feet, not feet squared, because a radius is a length. A radius is not an area. Okay? Let's try another one like that. Okay, so let's say here the area is 153.9, and this time we want to find the diameter. So, again, pi r squared. So now 153.9 equals pi r squared. I want to get rid of the pi, so since that's just a number, I'm going to divide both sides by pi. So 153.9 divided by pi gets me 48.987 or 988. 48.988 equals r squared. And then to undo the square, we just need to take the square root of both sides. So, second square root, and if I just want this whole previous number, I'm just going to do second answer, and I get 6.9999, which if we round to the nearest tenth would just be 7. So my answer will be 7.0 centimeters. Okay? So, the only other thing that we want to talk about here is the area of a sector of a circle. A sector is just like a piece of pie, okay, or a piece of pizza. All right, so something like this. This is an example of a sector of a circle. To find the area of just that sector or a piece of the circle, we're going to use this formula right here. Okay, this formula says we want the whole area, which we know the whole area of a circle is pi r squared, and then I'm just going to take some fraction of that circle. Okay, well, we know in a circle there are 360 degrees. If I just take the degree measure of the angle here, okay, of this angle that this sector forms, and divide that by 360, that's going to get me the fraction of the circle that I want. Okay, so here, for this example, I'm going to say the area of just this sector is going to be the area of the whole circle, which will be pi times the radius squared, and then I'm going to multiply that by the fraction of this degree measure over 360. So 45 over 360 times pi times 3 squared. And we can put all of this into the calculator just like that. Okay, to just get this area of this little piece. All right, so let's do that. So we can just say 45 divided by 360 times pi times the radius of 3 squared. And that's the area of that sector. Rounded to the nearest tenth, that would be 3.5. So here, the area is 3.5 square feet. Okay, and that's just the area of this little piece here. Okay, it's a piece of the entire area of the circle. All right, let's do one more like that. So here, if I want the area of the shaded sector, it's almost the entire circle, right? Just missing this little sliver. So what we want to think about is, well, if this little sliver that I don't want to include is 20 degrees, what's the degree measure of this part? Well, if I know the whole circle is 360 degrees, and I just don't want to include this 20 degree part, I would just take 360 minus 20 and get the part that I do want is 340. So my fraction here is going to be 340 over 360 times pi times the radius, which we're given is 7 squared. And again, I can plug that whole thing into the calculator. So 340 divided by 360 times pi times the radius of 7 squared, like that. And if I round this to the nearest tenth, this would be 145.4, because since this value is 5 or greater, this would round up. So 145.4. Okay, so like I mentioned, okay, the most classic example of something like this is a piece of pie or a piece of pizza, something like that, finding the area of a sector of a circular object like that. Okay, so remember, the assignment for today is to upload a picture of your notes, and the assignment for tomorrow is to try the edge elastic over this material, and as always, send me any questions that you have.